Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Colleen, MikeColleen.com. Now today's video is going to be about power, about how to give you back your power. Now there's something that narcissists do. It's very slick, it's very tricky, and it will cause you to believe something that you don't actually believe, okay? So they can be really tricky. So how I'm going to start this out is how this unfolded in my mind. So the first thing I was thinking, well, what is it that gives people power? It's the ability to see patterns. So if you ever see movies where like a baseball coach does something really slick, or they do something and nobody else saw it, well, they started seeing patterns. Okay, it could be a baseball coach or a footballer, it could be a quarterback, or it could be anything. It could be two people arguing at dinner, right? And one of them wins decisively. It's because they saw a pattern that the other person was doing. Well, I'm an NLP trainer, neuro-linguistic programming. It's a form of psychology based on linguistics, which means it's the study of words and how words affect our emotions, and thus which affects our behavior, whether we do something or we don't, or to what extent, okay? I'm also an Ericksonian hypnotherapist, master hypnotherapist. So again, we are taught and trained in patterns. Like, what are people doing unconsciously that's outside of their awareness? So when I work with someone, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for where's the blockage. Like, what do they believe what belief do they have that's holding them back? Or what belief do they need? Or what strategy? Okay, a lot of times people have strategies that they really fully believe in, but absolutely block them from the very thing they're trying to get using that strategy. A lot of times people don't see what's happening on an unconscious level. So in other words, you don't have to struggle anymore. There are new breakthroughs that can shift things inside your unconscious mind to where you can start flowing in life towards what you want. So what stimulated this was patterns. Showing people patterns. And that's what, to be honest with you, that's what all my videos that you've been listening to, I'm showing you things, I'm talking to you about things, I'm telling you things that are patterns that you have done, patterns that narcissists do that they're not even aware of, okay? So you can avoid the pitfall, so you can do more powerful things. Now, let me pull up the notes real quick here. So here's what this video is about. All right, so let's talk about manifestation. So here's what happens. A lot of you will think, it's like intuitively that manifestation does work because it's happened to you a few times. But then you get this narcissist that comes along like, oh, come on. They'll say, this is what they'll say, something like this. Oh, you don't believe in things that just happen randomly, do you? So what, do you? So what ends up happening is you argue against it, thus taking on the belief that things happen randomly. Narcissists are bastards. So what happens is, if you are not a self-thinker, you're going to actually, it's like they did a double negative in a way to where you took on the very thing that they wanted you to take on, thinking that you were defending your belief, which you didn't. That's why it's vital to learn something called internal awareness. It's where you do an internal check with, what do I think about that? And that connects you with your emotions and feelings and lets you know, oh, I think this. In fact, you actually took on the belief that they wanted you to take on, that manifesting is just some random thing that happens once in a while. So when you take on that belief, now you're powerless. You don't actually have any power of it. So manifesting is not some random thing that happens. Manifesting is a step-by-step process that when you get good at it, it becomes more and more consistent, thus you becoming more and more powerful. Okay, so take a look at these people. 3 very powerful people. Very rich, very wealthy, very successful. There is no difference between them and you. And a lot of you, oh, they're smarter than me. Do you know what that means? That means they read more books. That means they learned more. They studied. They practiced. They applied, okay? And that's really what it's all about. And what does Tony Robbins always say? It's all about action. It's about application. So, okay, I fired someone it was a client of mine about 1 year and 4 months ago approximately. And it was because they didn't do the exercises. I'm like, well, how are you supposed to, understand this and improve on it and get better at this skill set if you don't practice it? Well, he did it 2 weeks in a row. He said, well, and I said, you didn't do it. I could tell by the way you're doing it because you suck at it. And he goes, well, yeah, to be honest with you, I actually didn't do it. I just watched TV and, well, I did some bullshit basically. And I said, so one of the things he said, well, I shouldn't have to do this stuff. I'm like, oh, so you should just be born this way because you're so goddamn special. You're like you're not only are you king, you are God's king, and God is beneath you, and God should just give you this, right? But the rest of us, we got to work for this stuff, right? I don't work with people like that. So if you're going to come to me with this attitude of excuses, and I don't want to practice something, I don't want to develop this skill, don't call me. It's going to waste my time. It's going to waste your time. Okay? So here's the deal. You can learn to become just like these people. You can be good. Now here's the thing though. Tony Robbins is not an actor. Morpheus, I can't think of his name in real life. He's not a motivational speaker. Steven Spielberg, he's not a motivational speaker. The point being is, you don't have to become what these people are. Maybe you want to be something else. And you really should move in the direction of what you want out of life, okay? Because your motivation will be there, your excitement, your enthusiasm, you're willing to overcome challenges and failure and falling back and making mistakes. You're willing to learn, you're willing to develop, you're willing to get better and better and better. Whereas if you're doing something you're not that fascinated in, excited about, then you're probably not going to work your ass off to overcome all the challenges and things that are hard in life. So start looking for the patterns in life, okay? Okay, here's one, okay. So a lot of people, okay, because I've been on both sides of the fence. In fact, I think every single person in the image has been on both sides of the fence. A lot of you guys think, well, they were just born that way. No, they weren't. That is such a narcissistic belief. No, people are not just born successful. You've got to work your ass off to become successful regardless of what you do or where you come from, okay? So one thing that I learned over time is that some people aren't that motivated. It's because you're not pushing yourself. Now, motivation is literally exactly like building muscles, and I mean exactly like that. Okay, so when I got out of shape for the first time in my life, and I mean really out of shape, I said, oh, well, I'll just start working out now. And man, did I not want to work out. I was like, fuck, I could only do so many push-ups. Like, what the hell? Like, man, I'm getting old. And I really thought that's what it was. And I almost gave up. And I just said, man, I can't, I can't be like this. This fucking sucks. And so I kept going at it, and I got I didn't get any results, to be honest with you, for a couple of weeks and even a month and even 2 months. And I give myself a break. And I thought, well, I'm going to start eating more vegetables. I'm going to eat a little bit healthier, make sure I got enough protein. So okay. And I came back out a week later, and man, I was really just going, man, I'm getting old. What the fuck? But I didn't give up. I kept going at it. Now, all of a sudden, about 2.5, 3 months ago, I've got this surge of energy. That's exactly what motivation is like. Motivation is another muscle that you didn't know was a muscle. So what happens when you physically work out? It's the same thing when you force yourself to read a lot. Okay, I used to read every single day. Okay, let's take meditation. I meditated for 20 plus years. In fact, I didn't even take a break until after the 12th year. I meditated every single day, twice a day for 12 years, right? And so then I didn't meditate for a long time. And so now I'm like, how did I do that? Well, I wanted it really bad. And I was willing to put up with the discomfort in the beginning to get to the comfort level, right? So now at first I thought, well, I just can't do it anymore. And that's what I thought for about a year. I'm not kidding. Because it's like, I didn't want to do it. It wasn't working. What the hell? Now it's working. But it's because I had to keep going back at it. Now here's what happens. Whether it's being determined, motivated, doing your push-ups, doing your sit-ups, lifting weights, reading consistently, what your body does is it builds up chemicals. So all of a sudden, instead of having an empty gas tank, you've got more adrenaline, you've got more testosterone, see, when you work and you work out, your testosterone eventually will start to go up, regardless of your age. Period, end of sentence. That's just a pure scientific fact. Now, if you're one of those people who, oh, I go to the gym all the time, it's not working. No, it's not just showing up. You have to push and push and push and push and push and push until it gets like that. And then you got to keep pushing to take it to the next level. Everything is like that. There are hormones in your body that will shift, that will raise. There's all kinds of things that begin to shift in your body. You get a surge of different chemicals, whether it's a hormone, whether it's adrenaline, whether it's testosterone, whether it's, I can't think of that chemical when you go out in the sun a lot. Like it's like vitamin D3. It's a hormone, actually. So the point being is, don't think that people are born this way. You've got to push yourself until you become this way. And then to maintain it, you still have to push yourself. Now, you could take a break for a week or 2 weeks, let's say, but then you got to come back at it and you got to start pushing again. And if you want to go to the next level, you got to push even harder. This is life. This is what everything is about. You know, you might have been great in high school football, but hey, there's another level called college. There's D1, D2, and D3. And if you want to succeed at any of those levels, you're going to have to raise it to the next level, which means you're going to have to push it.